So you know what? I want to start off with this. I'm gonna start off with this. Uh, First of all, the Hard Knocks. And listen, so we're gonna start off with the Hard Knocks and everybody thoughts on episode 1 and 2. But before I get into that, the nobody is talking about it though. I listen to a lot of sports now. Maybe like probably Corey knows, like Indianapolis based sports radio probably talk about it, but I haven't heard any of the mainstream radio talk about it, which is it's very interesting. But they still talk about Dallas, but I enjoy it, and I yeah, you know what I'm saying. But it's crazy that so we're gonna show them love until it's off, which I like, man. So every week we're gonna talk about each episode. I know the episode comes on. Is it Thursdays?
Wednesdays at 10 p.m.
Wednesdays at 10. So I might watch it tonight. I don't know. I might be sleeping. Yeah. Last time I watched it, I usually watch it like maybe Saturday night when all football's over, and because nobody's talking about it, so I don't have to worry about somebody talking about. Did you see this happen? Which I listen. So let me talk about it. Hey guys, we're in the fourth quarter. So the Hard Knocks, I've enjoyed it. I love it. Episode 1, they talked about the racial relationship with Carson Wentz and Frank White, of course, and how they embraced the offensive lineman. Jonathan Taylor got some love. They went into more detail with Darius Leonard. Shout out, he's the Q, my frat brother. They also talked to, I like how they did with the offensive linemen, how they had a baby shower for all of them. Yeah, you got to see in depth of the family and see how it was during the season. I also like the film breakdown, right? So right before they played, was it Buffalo? Was it Buffalo? They played Buffalo.
Episode 1 was Jacksonville. Episode 2 was
Jacksonville. Jacksonville is when the special teams coach broke down and the young man got a block. That's what I want to see. He was like, look at this formation. If you go hard right here, you're going to end up getting a block, and he did in the game. That's the type of film study and breakdown that I would like to see, because you don't get to see that during Hard Knocks because it's in preseason. So it's all vanilla. Hard Knocks, when it's during training camp, is just here for the personalities. That's all. You don't really get to see. I mean, most times it's vanilla. Like, you don't know if somebody's being real. But the Hard Knocks during the season, you can't fake because you're trying to get to the playoffs, right? So I just really enjoyed it. The second episode was bomb. I know, and they go through Darius Leonard. Shout out to oh man, hold on. Oh, I just read about him. He's gonna play too. What's the defensive lineman name?
Buckner.
Yeah, shout out to DeForest Buckner saying what's up to Bruce Willis while they were sitting at the table, man. So I like to see it. I like the it's just really good to see that. And as you know, Buffalo loves Frank Wright. I remember that playoff game. It was against Houston Oilers at the time. My dad was like, the game is over. And I was like, nah, I'm just gonna, I was a kid at that time. So I was like, I'm just gonna watch it. It's nothing else to watch. And I saw Frank Wright come in. Jim Kelly was injured, and it was 35-7, and he came back. It was probably one of the best playoff games I've seen in my life. My dad was like, they're still playing? I was like, yeah, I think Buffalo's gonna win. He was like, what? This is history. I was like, at that age, you don't know what history is when you're watching it. You just, think it's like, oh, okay, it's a good game. But anyway, all right. I'm gonna start off with you, Mo. What do you think about the Hard Knocks 1 and 2?
I watched some of it. I need to go back. But I think I will stay on one factor right quick. Jonathan Taylor. I think for what a lot of people thought of him, I think for him slipping to the second round and what he's done, I think he's been remarkable. Even Darius Leonard's story is really crazy. Like just the fact of where he came from and what he's been, and now being one of the top 3 or 4 linebackers in his league is just remarkable. But a lot of people said Jonathan Taylor would struggle. Everybody was like, he might be a number 2 back in this league because he had so much thread on his body at Wisconsin. Everybody was like, maybe it's too much. He wouldn't be able to do this. He's going to come in. He'll be a solid back, but he's not going to be an every down back. And now he's coming in the league, and if I'm not mistaken, what is he, second or third in rushing yards? If I'm not mistaken, I know he's top 5 in rushing yards.
Does he lead it?
He might lead it, but I know he's top 5 definitely. So just what he's done, and it is crazy to think. And the most respect you can give somebody is Tampa. I watched the whole Tampa Bay Indianapolis game, and Tampa Bay tailored their whole scheme to stop him. So for you to tell your whole scheme to stop a second year back it just shows you to what he's done. You know, when you sit there, sometimes you might sleep on the back and be like, oh well, if he run it, he run it. But they tailored their scheme to say, I gotta stop him. He's not going to beat us.
Yeah, Mo, he has 1,205. He has 1,205 yards, and the closest person is Joe Mixon with 924. He's killing it.
I'm all right. Yeah, that's
killing it.
Yeah. So I'm definitely interested to see this story because there's so many storylines with the Colts. Like you said, you got the relationship with Wentz and his coach, with him coming over. You got so much stuff going over. So I'm definitely going to keep track of it. But I think I love the storyline so far, especially with them doing it during the regular season, not the preseason.
Mm-hmm. All right, Craig, what do you think about the Hard Knocks 1 and 2?
I've never really been a Hard Knocks person. I know it's football and all this stuff, but the main reason why I haven't been into it because I don't like preseason. So preseason just doesn't get me hyped for anything. Mm-hmm. Not just football, but any sport. Like I just
understand.
Don't care. So when they talked about doing this for the regular season, I was like, I'm a little more excited about this because it's during the season. So I mean, you're actually playing a game. You're going out and seeing what's going on behind the scenes in meetings and leading up to the game, then seeing highlights of the game, blah blah blah. So I love that aspect of it. And actually these games mean something. These games matter, and it's not like fortunately, it's not like they have a team like Detroit or somebody like that right now. Because even though it would be during the season and it'll be interesting, it's not as interesting because the Colts have a chance to make the playoffs, and you get to see that story unfold from the point of where they were, I think 4 and 5, something like that, I believe. Yeah, they were 4 and 5 at that point. So 9 games in. So I love that. That's cool. You get to see how the game plans unfold. Just behind the scenes stuff with Carson Wentz and his family, Darius Leonard and his family. When he hurt his ankle, you get to see that. But I really like players and I guess coaches and everybody when they're mic'd up. NBA does that really, really well. And you get to hear them and you get to, talk to people or get to hear them interact with each other, interact with the refs. You got to hear that with Darius Leonard, especially when he was talking about moving the football back 6 inches or whatever it was. He moved the football back somewhere.
Yeah.
The referee, you can hear the referee talk to him as well and get into it. So, that's always cool, and just having to go back and forth with that. Just you get the whole insight of different guys like Darius Leonard and DeForest Buckner and obviously Jonathan Taylor, and to see what goes on with those guys. And then obviously Coach Frank Wright, what he did, and going back to Buffalo where it all started from basically, and hearing those fans cheer for him, just stuff that you really don't get to see during I guess like pregame TV shows or anything like that. So I'm cool with the extra insight and extra diving deep into what goes on during the regular season. And I hope they can do this again next year with another team that's kind of in the same position. I don't know. I mean, they kind of struck gold here with this team because, like I said, they're in prime position to make a playoff run. So hopefully they can bring this series back. I don't know if they will. I don't know if they got something in line next year, but preseason, okay, I'm out. But the regular season one, yeah, I'm good with that. So,
all right, I agree with you, man. Go ahead, Corey. Hard Knocks.
Yeah, it's been good. It's half of it's getting the personalities. It's been nice to see some focus on Carson Wentz because, especially with, it seems like a lot of the national NFL media is still dead set on sticking with the narrative of Carson Wentz from last year, where he was dreadful for the Eagles, but that ain't Wentz this year. He's even outpacing 2019. He's having a really good season, and nobody seems to want to kind of give him credit for that. So seeing more behind the scenes with him, a lot of people getting their real first exposure to Darius Leonard, Jonathan Taylor as well. Grover Stewart got some love, and because that's a guy who's earned a second contract at Indy, has been a really good player for that defense. But outside of Indianapolis, I guarantee nobody knew his name. So it was cool to see him get some attention. It sounds like Kenny Moore is going to get some love in the upcoming episode this week, and if it's the story I think they're going to tell, it's a really amazing one. So that'll be cool. But as you said, James, I also like the football aspect of it. You pointed out the Bubba Ventrone, the special teams coach, calling out that block punt. Well, week 2, or the second episode against Buffalo, he called out Buffalo's kick returner puts the ball on the ground. Mm-hmm. The Colts' game plan was make him catch and return the football. Got a turnover with that too. So, seeing 2 weeks in a row, a coach, doing their homework, going in, doing the preparation, and then seeing that preparation actually happen on game day is really cool to get that curtain kind of peeled back on. So I'm excited, not just as a Colts fan to see it, but to be able to see just meaningful things going on behind the scenes, not just vets trying to survive training camp.
Vets trying to survive. Yeah, I'm telling you how much I appreciate it. And it snuck up. And I hope they do it. Like next year, I hope they do. I hope it's criteria built around it, Craig. Where I know not every team go to the playoffs, but if the team, like next year, say Cincinnati goes to playoffs this year, I would like to see that, because they made it to the playoffs. They're building on something. I don't know if we're going to get, this is a really good season because, we're going to get into it with the next question. The Colts have a good chance of making the playoffs. So I hope it's a playoff team, or even if a team is on the cusp of getting to the playoffs, right? And even if they fall right outside the playoffs, I still think that's exciting to me. Like it's up to the last game, where they're fighting every week, or if it's a playoff team. But I hope they keep it, man. I hope they do. I don't want to see Detroit. I'm not going to watch it. I'm going to be honest. If it's Detroit or Jacksonville, I'm not watching it.
I think Jacksonville will be decent because they have
Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, okay. I got you. Got me on that. But would you watch Detroit?
I will watch it because it's my brother's team. Now, if you told me
it
was Houston maybe, and there's no Deshaun, I probably wouldn't watch it.
Okay. I do think Detroit could be interesting from the sense of having a team that even the team knows going into the season they're going to be bad. But seeing a rookie coach trying to keep hold of a locker room during a season that there's just nothing but losing, I think that there could be something interesting there.
It's not like they're getting railroaded. Like they've lost a lot of close games.
They have.
It's not like they're just getting straight railroaded like that.
They should have won Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they should have won Pittsburgh. It's a couple games.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Didn't the Ravens?
Yeah, the Cleveland game was less than one score, wasn't it? The Cleveland game wasn't a blowout, was it?
Yep.
Yeah.
So if Baltimore gets called for that delay of game, they probably lose to Detroit.
Yeah, it's not like they out here just getting railroaded.
Well, we know who they're picking. I know who they're picking. Number one.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna pick that DN from Oregon. He is so
Devon Thibodeau.
Yeah.
I've seen Aiden Hutchinson's name coming.
Aiden Hutchinson too. Yeah, they're gonna pick somebody on defense. I just think that there's no quarterback take number one. I think you're gonna take that best defense. You take the best defensive player, and that's how I think that's how Campbell wants it to be, building the trenches anyway.
Well, we can talk later about that. I don't think it's a first round quarterback this year, but we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk. Yeah, man,
we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. There's none. All right, Corey.
No,
Let's stay on the Colts in the playoffs. So right now the Colts are 6-6. All right, ESPN, which I don't like a lot, but they did put this number out. They Colts had 42% chance of going to the playoffs. With games left against the Texans, Patriots, Cardinals, Raiders, and Jaguars. I think is that it?
Yeah, 5 left because we have a week 14 bye.
Yep. Okay, there we go. Make sure I got it right. Corey, do the Colts make the playoffs in the AFC?
So to close out the year in those 5 games, the Colts probably need to go 4-1 to ensure they make the playoffs. Houston, Jacksonville, they absolutely should win. They should finally break that streak of like 7 straight losses in Jacksonville. I think they should be able to beat the Raiders. I'm still not sold on Oakland. We'll get to them later. Arizona is a very good team, but if the Colts do happen to lose to the Cardinals, not the end of the world. It's an NFC team, non-conference, won't go into any kind of tiebreaker that they'll need to worry about. I think the Colts' fate will be decided week 15 in Indianapolis against New England.
Oh,
the game has been flexed into a Saturday night game, prime time. Both teams will be coming off their bye, so there's no issues with the short week. Both teams should be rested. New England is hot right now, and Belichick is a great coach. The Colts have struggled to close out close games, and they've kind of backed themselves into a bit of a corner that they're going to have to beat some potential playoff teams to get themselves in. Getting both the Raiders and the Patriots could be really important tiebreakers. They've already got a tiebreaker against Buffalo, so if they can beat the Patriots, whoever loses the AFC East, they would have the head-to-head tiebreaker on, which could be really important. The Colts are also 5-3 in their last 8 games. Those 3 losses: Baltimore, overtime loss; Tennessee, overtime loss; Tampa Bay, 1-score game as well. And the Colts held double-digit leads in all 3 of those games. Double-digit leads in the fourth quarter in the overtime games. So realistically, the Colts really are a handful of plays away from being 9-3, sitting atop the AFC right now. So I do absolutely believe that the Colts are one of the top 7 teams in the AFC, and I do believe that Frank Reich can lead this team back to the playoffs this year.
All right. Craig. What's up, man? Do the Colts make the playoffs this year after they have games against the Texans, Patriots, Cardinals, Raiders, and Jaguars?
Okay, so
it's a good one. It's a good one, buddy.
There's this website that I go to. You can just Google it. It's like an NFL playoff machine, and it's playoff predictor or something like that.
Okay.
So you basically pick the matchups every single week. I start doing it around like week 8 or whatever it is, and I go through and then pick the team.
Okay.
So me doing this, I did it like, I don't know, 5 times today.
Okay.
Every single time I did it, I had the Colts making the playoffs at 10-7. But it's they were the 7th seed, but it's there's so many different ways like that they could not make it, but I guess they own the tiebreak over in the way I did it. They own the tiebreak over the Chargers, who also finished 10-7. The thing for the Colts is that they have an easier strength of schedule than any team in the NFC, or excuse me, any team in the AFC North. All those teams have a tough strength of schedule. Like 4 of those teams are in the top 5. Colts, I think, are like 19. So the Colts have 2 really tough games left. The Patriots is because they're playing so well, but they get them at home, and they play the Cardinals, who get everybody back, I would assume, by that time, and they play them on the road. The Raiders game is in Indianapolis.
So wait a minute, the Patriots play them in Indianapolis. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Craig. Go ahead.
So they play them at home, and then they play the Raiders at home.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders just came off a big win against Dallas, so anything's possible. I kind of doubted them in that game as well, but they showed up. So you never know, but they should win that game, and that'll be one loss for the rest of the season. So that gets them at 10-7. I don't think they can afford to lose 2 games, just because I don't think the Chargers are going to lose more than maybe 1 game the rest of the way. Maybe they could lose. This is a big game for them also this week because they play the Bengals, and the Bengals have one of the toughest strength of schedule remaining, which pretty much every single team that they play the rest of the way is
playoffs.
a playoff team. So and they're sitting at 7-4. So I mean, who knows what? I think they can win at least 3 games. They'll be 10-7. So it just depends on what happens. But I did run this thing, I don't know how many times, picked every single thing blindly or whatever it is, just didn't even look at the record when I did it. And every time the Colts made it. So I'm going to assume that the Colts get in probably as a 7th seed, maybe the 6th seed, but I think they'll still finish 10-7. But yeah, I just think the strength of schedule was easier. The way they're playing right now, they're playing crazy. Jonathan Taylor can't be stopped. Well, they didn't get in the ball enough in that Bucks game, but he's running a lot better than he did earlier in the season. I just need Michael Pittman to do what Michael Pittman was doing before, like 5 weeks ago. I think the last really good game he had was against, and losing effort was against the Titans. I think they're trying to get him and Ty on the same page with Carson, and I think once they figure that out, they'll be fine. But yeah, that Patriots game and that Cardinals game are going to be 2 tough games. But I think they can win at least one of those and be fine.
Wow, to make your point, we're going to probably be talking about the Bengals every week.
They got a tough schedule.
They got, except for maybe against the Steelers, but it's gonna be. They got some really good ones coming up. All right, Mo. Colts 6-6, man. They have the Texans, Jaguars, Patriots, Raiders, and
Jaguars,
Cardinals.
Yeah.
All right, you got the Colts making the playoffs.
I do. I truly believe if they, and I think they will do it, if they win the next 2, it's going to be a problem. I think, I'm not going to say must win, but I think the next 2 are very crucial to this stretch, because it's in the AFC, one is in division, and then the other one is the Patriots. I think it'll be huge to win those 2. The reason I like the Colts is because out of all the teams left, I don't think none of these teams are built to run or to scheme the way Tampa Bay did. The way Tampa Bay schemed against the Colts, no other team left on their schedule can scheme. No other team is built up front to try to scheme that way to say, we're just going to stop Jonathan Taylor and play man coverage everywhere else and just live with what's going to happen. I don't think no other team has a secondary in the back end that they're going to play to deal with that. Maybe Patriots, maybe I'm only saying, but that's iffy. But other than that, nobody has that. So you got to pick your poison almost. And the way Carson Wentz was throwing the ball in that New England game, I mean, my bad. In the Tampa Bay game, man, you got issues. If he can throw the ball like that down this stretch, man, it's going to be a problem. So I got to make the playoffs. I got to make the playoffs either at 10-7 or maybe even 11-6, depending if they get one of these extra games. But I got to make the playoffs, and they're going to be a tough out.
Yeah, I agree with everybody, man. It's funny that I looked at this and I was like, let me, because we talking about the playoffs every week, and then that's why I had these 2 questions, because I was like, wait a minute, let me look at the AFC. AFC's pretty much like, AFC's real tight. Like it's the Colts, and then it's like the Browns, the Raiders, the Chargers. That's it. Miami's in it, but I don't think they're going to be in it for real. I don't. People say, oh, they're going to go on the win. No, they're not going on the winning streak. Let's be real. Okay. So it's those 4 teams. I was like, okay, that's pretty tight, but I have them doing it, man. I actually think they're going to demolish the Texans. I think they're going to beat the Patriots. I think the Patriots are good, but I think the Colts are better. The Colts are one of those teams where they run the ball really well, dynamic running back, and then Carson Wentz is playing phenomenal this year. In the words of my man Shannon Sharp, he calls him walking to him Wentz. That's what he's doing this year. He's balling out. I don't even think he's getting much credit that he deserves, actually. I've heard a few people say, they were killing him last year, killing me, Smalls. And then he goes to the Colts, which they highlighted in the first episode, guys, that him and Frank Wright have a really good relationship. And that matters. That definitely matters, especially a head coach and NFL head coach and NFL quarterback. But yeah, I have them beating the Texans. I have beaten the Patriots. Now, the Patriots is going to be a good game. I just don't think the Patriots have seen talent like the Colts. And I think the Colts are going to be able to force Mac Jones to pass. I don't think he's ready. I think he's going to have a bad game. I'm calling it out. Start the Colts defense if you have them in fantasy. Mark my words. They're going to play good and they're going to get some turnovers on Mac Jones. I'm telling you, you heard it first. I think they might lose to the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals is going to be healthy. But I think it's going to be a good game. And if they beat the Cardinals, don't be surprised. And then I got them beating the Raiders, and I have them beating Jacksonville. So they're gonna make the playoffs, and they're gonna be one of those teams that you don't want to play. Like if let's say this, and I don't want to say this because I love Lamar, but if they'll play if they get the bye. But like say they play the Patriots again or Buffalo. I have them winning that or Baltimore. They're gonna be, man. Baltimore barely beat them, and I don't know, man. Lamar's having this weird season. They're winning games though, but it's a weird season he's having.
Baltimore's getting almost every bounce going in their favor.
Yeah, and that's gonna stop soon. We've all seen
not
that.
Sustainable.
Before. It's not. It's gonna stop. It usually stops in the playoffs. Game one. I'm just saying, Craig. I'm just like they've had a lot of crazy wins this year. It's just weird. I think, first of all, I think their record could be better. But I just think that this year is just an odd year for Lamar.
I will say for the Colts, when it comes to the Cardinals game,
yeah,
the Colts defense has spent how many years playing Deshaun Watson? Kyler Murray has a similar game style.
Yeah.
So I think if anybody should be able to scheme up a defense to try to slow down Kyler, keep him contained in the pocket, Eberflus has had plenty of practice the last 3 years.
Yep. Y'all going to lose him, maybe. Y'all got to be prepared to lose him, man.
I'd be okay with that, to be honest. One other thing I wanted to jump on real quick while I have a soapbox here that Craig kind of touched on is Jonathan Taylor's usage in that Tampa Bay game. Because Colts Twitter was in a civil war over Jonathan Taylor didn't get enough carries. And it's like, well, no, the Bucs dictated that. So Tampa Bay came out in a 5-man defensive front. Colts ran it like 8 times for like 23, 24 yards, I believe, in the first half. Did absolutely nothing on the ground. Second quarter, they come out, start throwing the ball. Have a lot of success. Get up, get the ball back, throwing the ball, start second half. Poised to go up 17, and then, Eric Fisher gets beat for the strip sack. But it's, Jonathan Taylor's touchdown drive, Tampa has shifted back to the 4-man front because the Colts passing game was working.
So they were able to.
Yeah. Okay. Suddenly they were able to block it, find holes. Taylor had success on that touchdown drive. So there's people saying that, well, the Colts just need to give the ball to Taylor. It's like, well, running the ball for the sake of running the ball when you're not getting any yardage is dumb, and it's bad coaching.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys saw Frank Reich to open his press conference, I think on Tuesday. There's like a 2-minute clip of him breaking down his play calling decisions. And he straight up come out and said, there was like 7 plays that he had called that were RPOs, and Wentz made the call to pass it. They got like 40 yards on those plays. Whereas he said, if we would have run the ball, we may have got 15.
Yep.
So it's looking at a box score and just looking at the total number of carries doesn't tell a full story. And I wish Colts fans were smarter than that.
Yeah. So sometimes fans they don't critique the game as much as true fans do.
Yeah. And Pittman had a bad game on Sunday. Like the first two drives, third downs, both drives hit him. First one hit him in the chest. Second one hit him in the hands. Would have been first downs. So
he's gonna see that on tape. He's gonna get called out on tape for that. You got to catch those, man. Those make the difference in the game. Make the difference. All right, Craig. LA Rams, 3 straight losses. Matthew Stafford has thrown 3 pick sixes in those losses, right? So, and the defense is looking bad. It's not on Matthew Stafford. Now, here's the question. Is Matthew Stafford the man to get the Rams further than Goff? Or is it a team issue right now that they have 3 straight losses?
I mean,
who's gonna shoulder the blame on this one, buddy? That's it.
It's a team effort. Like, what do you mean? Mostly to me, it's the defense. But I mean, you're the last 3 games though. You're playing some tough competition. It's not like you're playing Texans or the Jaguars or whatever. You're playing some playoff caliber teams. Carson Wentz. Matthew Stafford is kind of. I mean, he doesn't have Robert Woods back there right now, so he's kind of getting used to Odell back in the last couple of games. Odell didn't have a great game against the Niners. Had a late touchdown, kind of sort of against the Packers. Burned his man, but I just think that it's the blame is on the whole team as a whole, as a unit. Like, I can't put the whole thing on Matthew Stafford. I know he's got some bad interceptions that have went back for touchdowns, but I mean, if he's doing this against, I don't know, the Jets or something like that, then I'd be a little bit kind of skeptical about it. But if he's doing it against the Packers, I mean, the Packers have a really good defense. To me, they're underrated defense. The 49ers have a good defense as well. And the Titans have been known to, I mean, they're up and down, but most of their scores were from their defense in that game. And I think Stafford just needs to. I think Stafford will be back to normal this week. They're playing Jacksonville, so I think everybody can just relax on that, and they'll get a win. Then I think the week after that they play the Cardinals, so it's going to be interesting with that game because there's revenge. I think that was the first loss that they had early in the season. So, as far as taking them further than Goff, like Goff took them to the Super Bowl, so the next step would be to win it. I think that they can win it. There's like 5 teams, obviously, in the NFC that have Super Bowl aspirations. They're just one of 5, and it could happen if they get hot at the right time.
Why you make that face, Craig? I just want to ask why you made the face.
Right now they're just not, obviously they're not playing well. So it looked all good when they were 7-1. Now they're 7-4, and they're falling back further behind. But you also got Dallas, who's not playing well. You got Arizona, who's getting everybody back from injury. So Green Bay is pretty much the team to beat. Looking at them right now. So if they can somehow start to play and gel a lot better, the defense has just been terrible compared to last year. Like, they just haven't played nowhere near close to what they were last year. And this team is pretty much all in. Like, they've given up so many draft picks, so the future is not looking good as far as draft picks goes. So you're all in the next year or 2, 3, whatever it is with this same unit for the most part, however they can keep.
Is it 2? I gotta look it up. But you're right, it might be 3 years.
So yeah, so I'm saying, like, they're all in with this group for the most part. And it's just going to be like, this team has to get it done. If not this year, they have to get it done in the next 2 years after that. So Going further, I don't have them going to the Super Bowl. No, this year. It looked good early. I don't know. These teams have starting to. I've always been Green Bay or Tampa Bay this year anyway, so I'm sticking with one of those two teams. They're not going to have home field. It looks like anyway. Going to be right now. I think they're the 5th seed, so I don't know if they're going to be able to catch Arizona. So I guess I'm saying it's all on the defense. I mean, it's all on. It's a team thing that they're losing, and I don't think Matt Stafford's going to take them further than Goff did a few years ago.
All right. Mo, the Rams lost 3 straight. Matthew Stafford throws 3 straight picks. So do you think Matthew Stafford is the man to get the Rams in a further position than Goff did? Or do you think it's a team issue? Or both?
I think it's both. He has to play better, but you got to look at this defense for what we thought Aaron Rodgers' injury was and for what Green Bay is not. They couldn't stop him really. Like Green Bay almost did whatever they wanted to do. Looking at the Rams' schedule right now, like it's possible for 4-2, but even the two wins we possibly could give them, on paper is Jacksonville and maybe Seattle, but we know that Seattle game is still going to be a division game. It's still going to be tough. But even with those two, it's like you still sit there. You got the Ravens. You got the Vikings who want to play you tough because they fight for their playoff lives.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Cardinals. It's going to be tough. And right now, looking at who they are, I love Aaron Donald and I love Jalen Ramsey to death. But from an overall standpoint, in a one-game scenario, do I trust them to stop on the road? Do I trust them to stop Dallas? No. Do I trust them to stop Tampa? No. Enough to win a game? Do I trust them to stop even the Cardinals in a one-game scenario right now? No. So, I mean, I think they're going to make the playoffs, but do I trust them to win a playoff? Look at the NFC right now. Let's just go through it right now. Top seed is the Cardinals, I believe. Mm-hmm. So at best right now, you either want to play, you're looking at it right now, you might play either Green Bay, Dallas, or you're going to play a tough team right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to play a very tough offense right now. And what Green Bay did was they said, we're going to take the other receivers and say, okay, Jalen Ramsey could cover, but can the rest of your dudes cover? And the Rams struggled with that. And they moved their best receiver around to force it to where Jalen Ramsey couldn't cover him the whole time. And the Rams struggled with that. So I look at that in the playoffs when you face a team like Dallas, who's going to come with you with Cooper and Lamb and Gallup and Wilson, and they still run the ball. Are you going to be able to stop that? So I think the Rams are going to make the playoffs, but we can't put it on Stafford. This defense is not what it was last year. Even last year in the playoffs, they struggled. So I think even with this defense this year, I think they're playoff worthy. They're a playoff caliber team, but looking at their defense, I'm more concerned about their defense than I am their offense right now. I don't know if they're going to get enough stops to beat the top tier teams.
All right, so I started to develop this question when I started asking questions in the chat. It was me and Corey having a good banter back and forth. And I started listening to some other sports podcasts, which is hilarious about this. And I talked to my good friend Earl, who watches the show. Shout out to Earl. You get a shout out on the podcast, man. We're talking about this today as well. So before I answer, Craig, they gave up in 2022. They only have a 5th round pick and a 7th round pick and some compensatory picks, but they're all like 5th or 6th rounds. In 2023, they have a 2nd round, a 3rd round, a 5th round, and that's it. In 2024, they got all their Not all their draft picks, but they have 1 through 5. So they gave up. They gave up a lot. So I guess they start to normalize maybe 2023, maybe. So okay. To me, my opinion is it would be a wash if Goff didn't either get to the Super Bowl, not this year, but if he doesn't get to the Super Bowl or win it, then I think they should have never made the trade. Now, people say, oh, Corey's gonna disagree. Matthew Stafford was slightly better, but that's not the point. Is to get further than what you got with Goff, right? Matthew Stafford, the quarterback, yes, but I don't think he has the moxie to get them further than Jared Goff. Yep, I said it. 2, the team is not playing good this year. I think they did what they were supposed to do when they were 7-1. They played an easy schedule and they won. But you're listen, the defense is 20th. They're getting blown off the ball, which is very interesting. Like teams are being more physical, which is very interesting to me because you have Aaron Donald and then you have Jalen Ramsey. That shouldn't happen. They're getting blown off the ball. And they got Von Miller. And on the offensive side of the ball, they do have Odell, but I think Robert Woods is a great receiver that complements Cooper Kupp. So but we'll get to them how far they go in the playoffs. I don't know yet. We got to see if I trust that they put it together. So they might be a different team in 3 weeks. We don't know. That happens in the NFL. So I'm not going to say they're going to lose the first round. If it started today, I would say yes, they would. But I can't. We'll talk. That'll be the next question. But I think they're gonna make it. But that's my answer. Corey.
So, yeah, we talked about this a little bit in the group text. Look, yes, Jared Goff took the Rams to a Super Bowl a few years back.
Okay.
This ain't that team anymore. What did Jared Goff do for them last year? Was he good? Did they make the playoffs? Did they make a Super Bowl? No, not even close.
No. Okay.
The Rams internally knew Jared Goff was not capable to get them where they needed to go. With Jared Goff, they had no chance at making a Super Bowl run. By acquiring Matthew Stafford, they've at least given themselves a chance to do that. Because Stafford is an upgrade from Goff. Goff was severely limited. He looked atrocious in their Super Bowl. And the struggles right now, you can't put all on Matthew Stafford. Word is he's playing through some injuries, so we'll see if he can get healthy and get right from that. But as you mentioned, like losing Robert Woods is a big deal. Woods was the guy that did the dirty work. Great blocker. They used him a lot on jet sweeps. Woods got a surprisingly high amount of carries for a wide receiver. And so having to get used to a new guy and a potential diva at that and Odell on the fly is going to cause some hiccups in an offense. You're right. The defense is not playing like it should. It is not playing up to the level of talent they have. When you have Aaron Donald on a defensive front, you should be winning the line of scrimmage every week.
It's crazy.
And, that has nothing to do with Matthew Stafford. And, teams slump. Like the Rams came out of the gate, were on fire, and it's really hard to maintain that success through a 16, now 17 game season. It's extremely difficult. And I'll point you back to Colts Super Bowl season, 2006. Week 14, they took on the Jaguars. They got blown out 44-17. The Jags ran for nearly 300 yards on them. Week 14, almost ended the season.
What year, 2006? Is that when they had Maurice Jones-Drew?
Yep, Jones-Drew and Fred Taylor.
Yep.
Both of them went over 100 yards that game. But they rebounded. There was still time. Went on a Super Bowl run. So I'm not going to look at them when there's 6 weeks left of the season and say, oh, they're done or they can't make a run. Now, they do have a tough schedule. They're going to have to figure some stuff out soon because you keep dropping games and, they could find their way onto the outside looking in, which sounds crazy, but Stafford was absolutely the right call. I think if they stood pat with Jared Goff, they would be on a borderline playoff team, not a borderline Super Bowl team with Goff. And right now, there's no reason to panic. There's a lot of football left to be played. 2 weeks from now, the Rams lost 2 more games. Then yes, time to talk. But Matthew Stafford was the right way to go. And as a fan, I would be much happier with my team using draft picks to go all in to give my team a chance to win, rather than stand pat, do nothing, and stay average.
So, all right. So we know the Colts have a tough schedule. Here's the Rams schedule. Because I looked at it, I was like, okay, they got Jacksonville. They're gonna win that.
Colts have an easy.
They do. Well, yeah, I guess, yeah, because it's only really
they had a tough schedule beginning of the season.
The beginning of the season. Okay, that's fair. But here the Rams play. I think they have a bye. Week 14. No, they already had a bye. So who do they play week 14? Nah. So they play Jaguars. I'm on NFL.com too. I don't see the Rams.
They're in LA now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. LA Rams. They play the Cardinals, right? The Rams play the Cardinals, right? Monday Night Football. Then they have the Seahawks. That's a winnable game, right? Winnable. It's a division game. I think they'll win that one, right? And they have the Vikings. That's going to be a tough one. Then they have
the Ravens. There's a loss.
Yep. Then they have the Ravens. Man. Then they have the last game of Niners. The Niners at that point, that might be a playoff game, man. Because at that point, the Niners might be in. Yeah, they got a tough one. We're gonna talk about that one. All right, Mo, I'm gonna start off with you with this one, man. We're gonna continue talking about the playoffs because that's what it is right now. The NFC has this crazy thing where it's 7 teams under 500 that are still in the playoff race. Now, we're gonna say this, which I think is true. Because it's 7 teams that make it, correct?
6 teams are left. No, 7 teams make it. What I'm saying is it's only 6 teams left. Panthers are not in it. Get them out.
Come on, Chris.
Not in it. I love it. Moving on to hockey. I'm moving on to hockey.
Chris, I already moved on. I already stopped.
I'm in hockey and college basketball mode, man.
Oh
no, they are.
Craig, North Carolina playing right now. Who they playing, Craig? Y'all playing the Big Ten, Michigan State, right?
They play at 9 something. They play Michigan.
Michigan State.
All right.
Michigan.
But all right, so all right. So let's say the Cowboys, Bucks, Packers, Cardinals, and Rams. Those
right.
Solidify, right? Here, which 2 teams make the playoffs and why? San Francisco, Washington football team, Minnesota Vikings, Atlanta Falcons, New Orleans Saints, Philadelphia Eagles, Carolina Panthers, New York Giants, Chicago Bears, and the Seahawks. This is crazy. Mo, which 2 teams make the playoffs and why?
All right. So I'm a stats it, and I'm a home team these picks. But I think Washington and San Fran get in.
Okay.
One, I think Washington with coaching, and I think we're playing well. I think we're riding some of the same momentum that we kind of pushed in last year to making the playoffs. I think we're running the ball well. We're getting enough plays made in our offense, and I think we can get in. Do I think we're gonna win a playoff game? That's another different topic. but I think we can get in. San Fran right now, I think it's catching their stride. They're showing their identity. They're showing who they are. They're getting confidence going. And I understand some of the pieces are missing, but let's not get it twisted. This is a team that made the Super Bowl, 2 years ago? So, and a lot of their pieces are still there. They got the formula to win. So I think they're the scariest team going down the stretch. I think they might be one of the scariest teams in the AFC going down this, NFC going down the stretch. Because they're catching their stride. They're physical up front. They're running the football, and now it's gonna get cold. And even if they got to go on the road, what travels? Running game and defense. So I think they're going to be a scary out in the playoffs. So I'm gonna say Washington, San Fran.
All right. This is crazy. I don't know if I've ever seen this at this point in time in the season. They're talking about a team below 500 can make it. Listen, last year that happened with the Washington football team as a divisional winner. We're talking about maybe two, right? It could be two teams under 500. This is out of bounds, man. I just never seen this. At first I heard it, I was like, nah, then I looked it up, I was like, oh my God, right? So I think the two Manning will make. Okay. I think let's start from the bottom top. Seahawks are done. I think they're done. Unfortunately, I think it's Russell Wilson, man. I think that injury affected him too much. And this is going to be an interesting offseason. It's word swirling. I don't think he's going to be there. Either him or Pete Carroll, or if they can mend it, they got it's a lot of work to do in Seattle. The Bears, not with Andy Dalton and Justin Fields. Then you have players in the locker room are coming out saying, I don't like Matt Nagy. Done. Giants, they already fired their offensive coordinator. Done. Philadelphia Eagles is a very good one. That I just don't think they can win down the stretch because I like Hurts. I just think he's too inconsistent as a quarterback, and he just needs time in the system. Philly done. The Saints, we would be having a different conversation if they had Winston, but Taysom Hill might do it, but I didn't see enough from Taysom Hill last year to bet on him, so I'm not going to bet on him. Saints out. I already told Craig I eliminated the Panthers, so I didn't speak on them.
Thank you.
But I just think they just have a lot going on. Cam, I love Cam, but at this point in his career, I mean, I can see if he could turn around. I just don't think that they're gonna make it. They would have had to win certain games. They wouldn't even be in this position, and they didn't. Falcons, they're just not a good team. I don't even know why they're this high. Now, Minnesota is very interesting because I think that Minnesota, if they play well down the stretch, even though they have injuries to Dalvin Cook, they wouldn't surprise me if they made it. Washington football team. This is the Washington football team's MO. They did it last year. After the bye week, their defense is playing good and they're running the ball. I'm not a fan of Heineke. I keep saying that, but right now he's, playing like a decent quarterback, And then you have San Francisco, who's peaking at the right time. Jim Garoppolo's healthy. George Kittle's healthy. So listen, I think San Francisco is going to make the playoffs. And I think they're going to be a threat because they're playing, as Mo said, they're playing really good defense and running game. This one has me. Oh man, this one is very interesting. It's up to the Vikings and the Washington football team. Right now, I'm gonna have to lean towards the Washington football team only because the quality of wins of who they beat and the way they're doing it and is running the ball and playing good defense, and that's like Mo says, that's just like playoff success. That's like what Eagles and playoffs. I'm not gonna say they're gonna win, but I think they could, not sneak in, but get in there as a 7 seed. All right, Corey.
Washington is interesting. They have going into the year, everyone expected them to have a defense capable of making the playoffs. They have not shown that. I just feel like they blew too many games at the start of the year that they should have won to get into the playoffs at this point.
Almost blew Seattle. Corey, say it like it is.
Seattle is a mess right now. We'll get to that. For me, 3 teams really stand out to me for those 2 spots.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota, San Francisco, Philadelphia.
Okay, not mad at that.
If the Niners were healthy, I would pick them.
Mm-hmm.
And they will have a chance to play their way into the playoffs. But for me, losing Debo is going to be big for their offense because their offense runs through Debo Samuel. And, Brandon Ayuk is starting to do something finally. Only took 9 weeks. But I don't know if they will be able to replace the production of Debo. And I know it's not season ending, but even for their next 3 games, Seattle, Cincinnati, Atlanta. Cincinnati should be the only tough game out of those 3. So they could potentially survive it. I don't know. I'm still not convinced Philadelphia is all that great a football team. But look, they've won games. They've won a few games that I didn't think they had any business even being in. And their next 4 are the Jets, the Giants, and Washington twice.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those New York games should be wins, and they take care of business against Washington, and they are staring at a playoff berth. They have easily the easiest path to get to the playoffs out of any of the teams in contention. And I can't imagine them blowing it, I guess.
They do. They have the easiest schedule. They do.
Yeah. The Vikings, 4 of their last 6, they should be able to win. Pittsburgh, Detroit, Chicago twice. And I think getting those 4 wins would get them into the playoffs. And plus, with the Vikings, every game that they have lost this year has been a 1-score game. So they haven't been blown out. They've been competitive in everything. And as Craig's mentioned multiple times, this is their year to get into the playoffs on their pattern. So I think Zimmer will be able to pull it off.
All right, Craig.
Oh man,
Do you want me to say the teams again?
Nah, we good. Obviously, I'm just going to do the teams with 5 wins or more because the other 3 teams behind them don't matter at all. I mean, I don't think they have a chance. So, as far as obviously Carolina is right now sitting at 12. Like they've lost so many games that they should have won or could have won early in the season. The first 9 games they were all winnable, not all winnable, but minus like the Dallas and maybe the New England game, they were winnable, and they didn't get it done. So a lot of those teams that they lost to that are above them, Washington, Minnesota, Philly, they don't own the tiebreaker over them, so they're out anyway. Philly, they're right now in 11. I'm keeping them alive because I said last week that they have an easy schedule, and they I don't know what happened last week. That was a really stupid loss. They had won that game to be 6-6 and looking really good to make the playoffs easier than sitting at 5-7, even though the rest of the schedule is easy. New Orleans, nah, they got too many injuries. They're starting to slide in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta is not good. They've only seemed to be beating terrible teams who are worse than them.
I'm surprised they're that high. I am.
Yeah, me too, honestly. Minnesota, 5 wins. Out of 11 games, 10 of the games have been decided by 1 score or less. They're like the Panthers were last year. They're 4-6 in those games. So every single loss, like Corey said, has been a 1-score game. The only game that they didn't have a 1-score game in was a 13-point win against Seattle. So they're definitely in as well. Washington, I think, is also in the conversation. They've won 3 in a row. Terrible in the beginning. Kind of picked it up late. Some of those games they lost 5 in a row. They could have won just like Carolina. It didn't go their way. And they still have a somewhat of a tougher, not really that tough. They pretty much just played Dallas twice and Philly twice. But the thing is that they have 5 division games to end the season. So after this Raiders game, it's 5 division games. And San Francisco 6-5, best record out of any team on this list so far. They started to pick it up and they started to get it together lately. It's just going to have to be without Deebo Samuel. It's unfortunate because they were starting to gel on offense. Brandon Ayuk was back playing, I guess, football now. I guess, and the running game has just been up and down, in and out with different players. So that's going to be a different thing going forward, probably a week-to-week thing. But if I had to pick 2 teams that I feel confident in, I still feel confident in Philly. I know they lost last week. I think they have one of the easiest schedules left in the league. I think they only played Dallas. That's pretty much it as far as teams with a winning record. So if they can win 4 of those games, they're sitting at 9-8. And the last game of the season is against Dallas. So maybe Dallas has nothing to play for. I know you're playing your rival, but you might not even care at that point. You can't move up, you can't move down, and they might be sitting at the spot that they just.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So just rest your players and move on to next week, and Philly can get in. So I think Philly gets in, and I want to say Minnesota just because they've been in so many close games, but they've lost so many close games as well that I had to lean towards San Francisco. Just looking at the schedule, they do play the Rams and they do play the Bengals. They also play Tennessee, but Tennessee has some. I don't take them seriously now. But after that loss against Jacksonville, Houston, I'm out on them. And they also get Houston at home, Atlanta at home, and Seattle at home, or not at home, but they get those teams on their schedule. So those are, to me, 4 winnable games, and they already have 6 wins, so that could push them at 10. The game against the Bengals and the Rams are going to be 2 tough games, but even the Tennessee's game is going to be a little bit tough. But I think they can get that win, and that'll be, if they can win 4 of those 6 games, they're already at double-digit wins. So I'm going San Francisco at 6, and I'm going Philly sneaking in at 7, barely above Minnesota and Washington.
So, oh man, what was I about to say about San Francisco? So you have San Francisco and Philly, right?
Yeah.
San Francisco could. Oh, with Deebo Samuel's injury, it's a groin, but it's not major. So those groin injuries are funny.
Yeah.
They're funny.
You can re-aggravate it.
Yeah.
Pretty easily, and that's just it's a big loss. So their offense revolves around him, and if he was healthy, I think San Francisco definitely makes the playoffs. But.
Yeah, and the Titans, I mean, they just put AJ Brown on IR. They have a slew of injuries, man.
They're going backwards. I don't believe
they're going backwards, man. Yeah, they're still gonna make the playoffs, I think, but they're gonna be an easy out.
Play the Titans in the first round. Whoever plays the Titans in the first round, I got them beating the Titans in the first round.
Also the 7 seed, let Tennessee be the 2 seed.
Yeah.
They ain't getting that.
Yeah.
They got an easy schedule, but I think
they got an easy schedule. I think they're gonna lose.
They just lost.
I don't think they were a good team when they were
with Derrick Henry
7-2 or whatever. Yeah,
better than this.
They were better than this. They
as
were
soon as
better
Henry
than
went
this.
down, their season ended.
Yeah.
They've lost to the Jets.
They lost to the Jets in Houston. I can't take them seriously.
They lost to the Jets in Houston, man. Everybody's hurt. All right, guys. Go ahead, Greg. Say it.
No, I'm good. I'm done.
Go ahead, say it. I'm just going to go right back on the Titans.
I had them. I was rocking with them until they lost to Houston, and I'm done now.
Yeah, I was too.
I gotta apologize one time for a team, and I'm gonna shout them out. I apologize because I think they're gonna pass the threshold of what I thought they was gonna do. Shout out to the Atlanta Falcons because I didn't think they was gonna win this many games.
That's true.
They won some games. I didn't think it was gonna happen, but look,
I think we all had them terrible.
Lord,
they won 5 games. I was like, what?
Yeah, I didn't think they was gonna win.
I would have thought they had a better chance of going winless than winning 5.
Yeah.
Right now, they have not won. Well, they're under 500. Every single team. that they beat. Well, maybe not the Saints when they played them, but
every single team,
every team at the time,
Atlanta.
They were under 500 when they played.
Matt Ryan looks bad, man.
I mean, they had 3 points in 2 games.
Yeah. Do you think Matt Ryan? Oh, this is gonna be a good one. That's gonna be a good question. If Matt Ryan time is up,
I mean, he doesn't have his best receiver, and he doesn't have a running game.
I think at this season he'll be a backup somewhere. If he wants to stay in the league, he'll be a backup. He almost gonna be in an Eli situation. He almost gonna be in Eli situation. Either you're gonna be a backup or you gonna retire. 1 or 2.
You think so? I think if he gets
after
a
this
running
season, he'll
game,
be one of them choices.
for real. I think a team might ask him to start.
Not no team that's trying to win. Not no team going no Super Bowl. No playoff aspirations.
Your best receiver should not be a tight end. I don't think so.
It shouldn't be. Yeah, you're right. It shouldn't be.
Think about if he goes.
I get
I don't know
Kittle's
about these teams.
good and Kelsey's good,
What if he goes to say Russell Wilson, Seattle trades Russell Wilson, and they get Matt Ryan?
They'll be the same way. They'll be right there where they at right now. There won't be no change. It won't be.
But that line is terrible. So I mean, Russell's running for his life.
I'm trying to figure out the team.
I'm
trying to be on Matty Ice's side.
I respect him as a player. I respect where he came from, coming from BC. I respect him.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, he's in an Eli situation right now. To me,
this is done.
If you want to stay in the league,
You know where you can go?
if you want to stay in the league, you're gonna be a backup or you gonna retire. 1 or 2.
You know where you know where you can go? You can go to Pittsburgh.
Lord have mercy. Anybody go to Pittsburgh?
Yeah. He could. He got receivers. He got
Like
defense in the running game.
Seattle wouldn't maybe. Well,
That's the thing. Hold on, wait. Do you think Denver would want him?
What? Oh,
Matt
really?
Ryan?
Take more points with it right now.
over who they got?
Yes.
I would.
Yes, I think he'll
Yeah,
get
they
a
would take him
job.
over.
I think they would be
Petty.
good. If Matt Ryan was in Denver, I think they would be really good.
Maybe Houston. He ain't
Yeah.
gonna win down there, but I mean,
Nah, Houston, Greg. You talking about top of the draft again, man.
I'm saying they ain't got to worry about getting.
Oh well, yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. They got Brandon Cooks. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, what, for a stopover? For what, 1-2 years before you go draft a quarterback? Like, what?
Matt Ryan wouldn't want to go to Houston.
I'm saying he wouldn't. I wouldn't want to go there either. I'm just saying, like, he wants
I
to.
retire if I go there. I retire to take my money.
He's going to be in another dome. He has games
Yeah.
against Indianapolis in the dome. Jacksonville's in Florida. Only
Yeah.
team he has to play is going to be cold in the division.
Okay.
Tennessee.
That's fair.
You played him in the right time of the year. You ain't got to worry about it.
I don't know.
I think he's off the books this year. It'll be interesting because if his name,
I think his guaranteed money is over.
His guaranteed money's over, right?
I think so.
I think he's in Eli mode after this season. After this season, it's like you gonna be a backup or you gonna retire.
I don't think he's done, man.
He doesn't have his best wide receiver, and when he was playing, he wasn't.
I don't think he's done, man. I don't think so.
I think he could be a Matt Hasselbeck like quarterback. Like have a still solid season. Yes, he's not gonna go out and be an MVP caliber type guy anymore. I don't know, but I think he still have a very good season. And it seems like Denver doesn't need elite quarterback play with everything they've got. Like they need good quarterback play.
That's it.
They can't even get that right now.
No, if he was in Denver with all those receivers, you have to pay him. You're gonna pay him, but you're not gonna pay him like
you're not paying him $40 million.
Yeah. It's some teams.
You're not giving him Aaron Rodgers money.
You're not giving him Aaron Rodgers. It's some teams out here that would take a decent quarterback of 3-4 years.
I mean, I think
there's some teams that will, man.
No respect to him, but I think from that factor, it speaks more to what the quarterbacks are coming out next year than to his greatness. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't gonna disrespect Matt Ryan, that's my man. But I'm saying right now, it's like, okay, you can go somewhere and start somewhere, but can he go to a playoff caliber team and take him to the next level? Nah.
All right. Okay.
You go to a team that might want to be that's on the cusp of playoffs and take them to the playoffs, maybe, but not no team take them to the next level.
What about Washington? You want one of them in Washington?
See, there you go.
Heineke?
You want him in Carolina?
You say with Carolina?
Yeah, I would.
Over Cam?
Yeah, he would.
5 for 31. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not. we have to get that defense together and that line. I don't know if we're built for him. I don't think I don't mind him. I think he's better than Heineke. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a fan of Heineke, but I don't know.
He's better than Cam, PJ Walker, and Sam Darnold combined right now.
Yeah. I don't know because
You just can't run.
I think he can. And that's the thing. I don't think our team, I don't want to say he's going to get hurt, but I don't know if our team is built to be good for him. I think Pittsburgh is. I think Denver is. I don't think we're there yet, to be honest. He could come, but I don't think we're there. We'll be the same team, maybe.
I think Pittsburgh
one game win.
I think Pittsburgh be solid for him because he can push the ball downfield more than Ben can right now.
Yeah. I think Pittsburgh, Denver. I think he'll have some options, and I think he's going to want to go to a team that wants to
still win. He ain't want to go to win just to be a quarterback. I think his pride will go like, I ain't trying to go to win just to be a quarterback.
But we got to see because this, I don't know, man. They always say, they don't always say this about quarterbacks, but this isn't a good year. This isn't a good year. It might be a Brady Quinn year. Let me stop. I need to just.
Oh Lord.
Let me stop, man. Anyway, let's go to the last segment. And who you got? Who you got? All right, we know how this one is, right? Offense, defense, coaching. Who has the advantage? And which team is going to win? By how many? And why? Yeah, we'll start off with Corey, man. Chargers versus Bengals. Who you got?
Cool.
Honestly, both of these teams have been the model of inconsistency this season. I think both of them also stack up pretty well against each other. I think they stack up pretty evenly. I probably cop out and give a push in all three categories for these teams right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they both have young quarterbacks with good skill position talent.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Chargers have more talent on their defense, but I think Cincinnati's defense is playing better right now.
Mm-hmm.
They both have young head coaches with a lot to prove. I'll say, and while this will be a West Coast team traveling east for 1:00 kickoff, the Chargers did beat Philly earlier this year in that scenario, so I don't know if that's necessarily a disadvantage for them, as I believe it'll be the third time this year they'll have to do it. Logically, I feel like I should be picking Cincinnati in this game. Defense is playing better. Their offense has been flowing a little bit lately. It's at home. But the Bengals also haven't won more than 2 games in a row yet this season. This would be win 3. It's not sold they can do it. I think while both teams have young quarterbacks, that Cincinnati roster on the whole is young. The Chargers have a lot of veteran presence around that team. And I think after having a huge letdown against Denver, I think they'll rebound against a young Cincinnati team. Give me the Chargers, 31-26.
All right. Craig, Chargers versus Bengals. Who you got?
Man, this is tough.
It's a good one.
I think both teams are kind of in like a must-win situation, just because Cincinnati's schedule is so tough the rest of the way. Fortunately for them, they get 4 of the next 6 at home. Chargers, from that team that started out 4-1 to that first game against the Ravens, and they got destroyed. They kind of been going downhill ever since. They're 2-4, I think, in their last 6 games. So they're not looking too good. And last week's loss, Denver's had some wins that I didn't think, like Dallas, and then this game, I didn't think they were going to do. But man, offensively, that's tough, man. Because Chargers look really good against Pittsburgh, and then they come out and then they do that against Denver, and it's just like, where's that team at that put up all them points against Pittsburgh? And then Cincinnati does the same thing against Pittsburgh, put up a lot of points. It's tough, man. I think I'm gonna lean Cincinnati just a little bit. I think Mixon's running the ball a lot better the last couple of weeks, and he's third in the league in rushing. Well, I guess technically he should be number 2, but
Derrick Henry is still up there. That's crazy.
That's crazy it is. But I'm going Cincinnati. Defensively, man, that's tough. Just based off of how they destroyed Pittsburgh last week versus how Cincinnati, the Chargers had a tough game with them. I'm just going Cincinnati slightly. This could go either way. Since Cincinnati's looked pretty good in the last couple of weeks. Coaching, I think coaching's even. Both young coaches. They both need a win. So not young as in age and whatever, but so they both need to win. I'm kind of want to say the Bengals because they're at home and they need all the wins that they can get for these next 6 weeks. But I'm gonna say Chargers just because they're 6-5. I think they need it more. They got the Chiefs coming up later on, and they got the Raiders later on in another division game. But so that's 2 other games that they need to win out with, or they pretty much need to win every game. But man, it's kind of tough. I want to say 28-23 Chargers over the Bengals.
All right, Mo. Chargers versus Bengals. Who you got?
Oh, man. Offense, I'm going to take the Bengals offensively, man. I think their receiver core, I just looked it up right now. Joe Mixon is 3rd in rushing yards. He has 924, 3rd in rushing yards. Burrow's playing well. They got the receivers. Defensively, I'll take the Chargers. Coaching wise, I honestly, I'll take the Chargers. I'll take the Bengals coach. Just for the fact of what they were coming off of. You get the quarterback coming off his injury. There was questions about should they take a tackle or should they take Jamar Chase. And he's done well. Look at where they're at. They've done well. Is the contracts of question marks here? So for the Bengals, is okay. Are y'all turning the corner? Are y'all ready to nucleus on the block? For the Chargers, it's kind of prove to us that why we just fired the coach we fired. Are y'all turning the corner? Because you fired Anthony Lynn for these reasons right here. You fired Anthony Lynn basically for these reasons right here, for turning the corner, finishing games, getting to the playoffs. So now, do you justify why you fired him? So I think it's a style, but I don't think the Bengals, what they just did to Pittsburgh was a fluke. So I'm going to take the Bengals. I think it's going to be kind of a shootout type of game. I'm going to go 30-27 Bengals.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. This is going to be an interesting take for me. Chargers versus Bengals. Who I got offense. Right now, this is close. They're both really good offenses. Running backs, quarterbacks, receivers. It could be a push. I'm gonna get the slight edge to the Bengals. Slight edge meaning like Jamar Chase edge. Like that's it. If Mike Williams is balling, this is a hard one. This is a push. Yeah, it's a push. Yeah. Defense, I gotta go with the Bengals, man. I just think they're playing better right now. I know they're up and down, but what have you done for me lately? The way they beat Pittsburgh, the defense came out and they made a statement, and that's what sometimes you need. It's what sometimes you need young teams to do. They're having an up and down season. Coaching, I gotta give it to Zach Taylor. Coaching could be a push too. For Staley's first year to have them in the playoff hunt is good. But I gotta give it to Zach Taylor from having the 5th pick. Everybody like, oh, Jamar Chase is the wrong pick. We were wrong. That's fair. I gotta eat it, Crow. It's okay. Jamar Chase is balling. They're 7-4. they've got some. They beat the Ravens. They beat the Steelers. They got some quality wins, and I think he has his young team going in the right direction. For the game, I'm going Bengals, man. And the reason I'm going to go Bengals is I think they're going to be able to get more defensive stops than the Chargers. The Chargers' rush defense is horrendous, and they're going to pound Joe Mixon, man. If you have Joe Mixon in fantasy, start him. He's going to eat. They're going to pound the ball, and I just think that they're going to eat too much clock up. And I think their defense. I think what's going to happen is the Chargers' defense is going to get tired because they can't stop the run. Clock eats up, you know how that is. And I think the Bengals win. And I think it's an impressive win, 35-17. I think so, man.
Okay.
I think the Bengals. I don't know, man. I think they're trying to make a statement. They're going to make a statement, man. I don't know about next year, but so far this year, yeah, I don't know about next year. All right, Craig, we're going to start off with the Washington football team versus Las Vegas Raiders. Who you got?
Oh, man. Offensively, Washington's running the ball a lot better than they did early in the season. They just lost Joe McKissick.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be coming back for this game. He might. I hope he does.
I think he has a neck injury. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a really good pass catching back. He's their best pass catching back, even though Gibson in college caught a lot of passes, but they seem to go to McKissick more. I think their offense is starting to click now after the bye week. Obviously, they won 3 games in a row. This is going to be another tough test because they're going on the road and they're playing against another team who came off of a big win on Thanksgiving and the Raiders. So I like the way Josh Jacobs is running the ball. David Carr is looking solid. I really didn't have the Raiders obviously beating the Cowboys. There's so many issues on that team, but man,
they find ways to win, don't they?
They seem to find 6-5 right now, so they're still in it. I think I'm leaning slightly offensively towards Washington just because I think they're starting to gel a lot better. And like I said, they've done it over the last 3 games, and they look solid. Now if they can just get Curtis Samuel more reps. I know he came back. I think he caught a pass last week. And then you got Carter. He's playing like he's out of nowhere. So I lean towards them in this category a little bit more. The defense, I'm going Washington again. The defense is starting to play a lot better, and it's kind of crazy because they don't have Jamar Chase. They don't have Chase Young, and he wasn't really that big of a factor when he was there, especially for the expectations and what he did last season. And then he gets hurt, and they still just like they didn't miss a beat, and they're still balling. So I'm definitely leaning towards Washington with their defense. If Taylor Heineke doesn't turn the ball over a lot, I think they definitely have a chance to win this game. I don't think they're going into this game, even though it's a West Coast game at 4:00 again, like they're not scared of the moment. So coming off that win last week against Seattle, a tough game there. I'm leaning towards the Raiders just slightly, just because they're at home. I would not be surprised if Washington wins this game, but I'm going to pick the Raiders 23-20.
Okay. All right, Mo. Washington football team versus Las Vegas Raiders.
Offensively, of course, without all the situations the Raiders have been through, I would take the Raiders offense. But right now, I'll take ours. Just overall, overall, if you go from quarterback down, I would take ours. Of course, if they still had Ruggs, if Waller was healthy, if everybody was there that's supposed to be there, I would take their offense. But I'll take ours. Defensively, even with our injuries, I'll take our defense. Coaching wise, just on principle, I'll take Ron Rivera. I mean, I know the situation, but I'll take Ron Rivera, and I almost would take him still, even with Gruden being there. The only difference really would be Super Bowl. I truly believe that Ron Rivera will have this team ready. I think he won't let them miss the moment because we've struggled in prime time. Like, we've struggled. So to beat Seattle, I think he won't let them overcrowd the moment or shrink in this moment right now. I think he'll calmly tell them, like, look where we're at. No matter what our injuries have been, no matter what the question marks have been at quarterback position, no matter what people thought about us, look where we're at right now. We have a chance. I think this is going to be a big win because if we lose this game, I'm thinking overall momentum wise, after this game, I think it's all division. So if you lose this game and now you feel sorry for yourself, now you got 5 straight division games. So I think he's going to have them hyped for the moment and know that this is going to be a crucial stretch. So I'm going to say we're going to win this game. I think because of Oakland's fight, it's going to be close. So I'm going to say 27-20 Washington.
All right. So, yeah, Mo, you made some good points. Washington the football team versus Raiders. Who you got? Washington football team, the offense is good. They're running the ball right now. But for the sheer fact, listen, Terry McLaurin is a phenomenal underrated receiver. Doesn't get enough credit. I gotta give the Raiders offense the slight edge because they have Waller, even though he's not playing, Jacobs, who's better than Gibson, and they have Derek Carr, who I would like as a quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback. Doesn't get enough credit, but he's a good quarterback. So I got to give the edge to the Raiders offense. Defense, this is 3 weeks ago, would be the Raiders, but since the bye, the defenses came together. We're playing more as a team. We're stopping the run. We're getting turnovers. We're getting to the quarterback. I got to give the edge defense to the Washington football team. Coaching, the interim coach has done good so far. I know they won against Dallas, but I don't think that's sustainable, and I don't think they should have won that. I got to give Ron Rivera the nod on coaching. I mean, think about it. After the bye, he's won 2 straight games. He has his team clicking on all cylinders. He has given Heineke confidence, which matters as a young quarterback, to make the throws necessary. Some are unnecessary, but to make the throws necessary down the field. So overall, I have the Washington football team going out to Vegas and beating the Las Vegas Raiders because I think it's going to come down to a game of semantics. I think that, unfortunately, Washington football team is going to do what it did against Tampa. It's going to do it against Seattle. The Raiders are a perfect team. They're going to eat the clock up with these long drives, long time. They're going to wear down the defense, and they're going to win the game. And they're going to win 24-13. No. All right, Corey. Washington football team versus the Raiders. Who you got?
All right, offensively, I'm going to give the edge to Washington. Typically, you'd go with the team with the better quarterback, but I do think Heineke has a better supporting cast around him. I will throw in a caveat that is as long as Logan Thomas, Curtis Samuel, Antonio Gibson, all those guys are good to go. Defensively, obviously give the edge to Washington football team. Yes, their defense has been disappointing this year, but it's still better than the Raiders defense. Coaching wise, no question, Ron Rivera. Look, overall, yes, I know the Raiders are coming off a big Thanksgiving upset, while Washington, yes, they've won a couple of games, haven't been necessarily the most impressive wins at times, but You look at the Thanksgiving Day game for the Raiders against Dallas, though. The Cowboys were down their top 2 wide receivers on a short week. Zeke is playing hurt and is clearly not himself. And they also had a rough call or two go in their favor that helped them win that game. To their credit, though, no matter how ugly the wins have been, Washington has played their way back into the playoff hunt. This is a team that had to win some games end of last year. They've done this fight before. I'm with you, James. I think Ron Rivera has his team ready to go. I think they keep their momentum going. I'm going to take Washington 23-17.
All right. Mo, you got 49ers versus Seahawks. Who you got?
Offensively, 49ers, even with Debo hurt, their offense is clicking right now. Their running game, I think, over there, if I'm not mistaken, I know for a fact over the last 3-4 games, they're over 150 rushing per game. They might be close to 200. They've been running the ball effectively. They've made it so that Garoppolo doesn't have to go out there and just basically throw 30, 40 throws, which he's not. We know he's not that guy. Defensively, I'll take San Fran. Coaching wise, it is in the moment right now. I mean, of course, overall resume, you'll take Pete Carroll, but if we're talking right now, this season, you're going to take Kyle Shanahan. And overall, Seattle's the best right now. I truly believe Pete Carroll will be gone this season. I wouldn't even be surprised if both are gone. If Russell Wilson says, I just want to change the scenery, I want a new start. But I truly believe Pete Carroll's he's going to, out of respect, they're going to let him finish the season. And I think that's more out of respect than anything else. I think if they didn't have respect for him, but he had the resume he's had, I don't think they'll let him finish the season. But I think they're going to let him finish the season out of respect.
That's the second time you said that, Mo.
I got San Fran winning. I got San Fran winning. Man, Seattle's offense is a mess. And San Fran's been balling. I'm going to say 30. I don't know. I'm going to say 30-21.
All right. 49ers versus Seahawks. Who you got? Offense. 49ers clicking, man. They're running the ball good. Even with Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk is back. Kittle's good to go. So they're hitting on all cylinders at the right time. Defense. Now, the Seahawks, I can't even say the Seahawks defense has been playing better, but I got to give 49ers defense the edge. That's just how it has to be. And coaching, oh no, man. I like Pete Carroll, but everybody did not like the way San Francisco was. There was a lot of backlash against Shanahan. Is he a good coach? I know we said some things. And he's listen, they have the 6th seed right now, and they've beaten some quality teams. And gotta give it to Shanahan coaching. Normally this would be a game that I would be gushing over. Right? This would be one of those matchups that I would really look forward to. I still do, but I just think that right now something's going on in Seattle. I think that it was probably started seeing at the beginning of the season where I don't know, they weren't, like the Seahawks of years prior, even last year. And then Russ got hurt with the injury. And then now I think everybody's really starting to see. And I know he's a hard worker. He came back, right on time. But I just think that his timing is off. Like DK Metcalf isn't getting the ball, which is awkward. So, I got 49ers in this one, and I have the 49ers winning in a big one, 28-20. All right. Corey, 49ers versus Seahawks. Who you got?
I know it's come up multiple times so far tonight, but Seahawks are a mess right now. The offense has looked awful since Russ has come back. I think he came back too soon. I do also think that his box score is a bit misleading for last week, because you look at the box score, you think he had a solid game, but no, they've put up 28 points total in the last 3 weeks. That's not enough at the NFL level. The defense hasn't looked great over the course of the season. This week, their saving grace might be Debo being out for the Niners. Just that, as I've said, their offense revolved around Debo, but with how much of a mess Seattle's been, you got to think Kyle Shanahan's going to be able to figure it out and get that win. This is the kind of game, though, that if San Francisco were to lose, I think it could quickly heat up that seat on Shanahan, because when you're fighting for a playoff spot, if you lose to a division rival that is in the state that the Seahawks franchise is in right now, that's rough, and that's almost unforgivable. Because honestly, you see a division rival whose franchise could be on the verge of imploding after 5 years ago, them being on the verge of having a dynasty potentially. You've got to be driving, that next nail into the coffin. I think Seattle is absolutely on the verge of facing some very serious questions about Russell Wilson's long-term future with the team, Pete Carroll's long-term future with the franchise, and I think could be close to everything imploding there. So give me San Francisco 20-12.
All right. Craig, 49ers versus Seahawks. Who you got?
Offensively, I'm gonna go with San Francisco. They seem to be playing a lot better. No Chris Carson now. On the other side, they're using Collins and Homer, I believe. And Russ just hasn't looked like Russ before he got hurt in that Rams game. And it's just like I think they won one game in like the last 6 or 7 games or something like that. But just the last 3 in general since he's come back, I mean, he just hasn't looked like the same quarterback. And I mean, for what it's worth, like they have better receivers than San Francisco. But like I don't know if I can trust Russ as far as what he can do with the football right now. I guess I can't believe I'm saying it, more than Jimmy Garoppolo right now. And I'm not a Jimmy Garoppolo guy right now. It's just the way that he's playing. I don't know if he's still hurt or if he's just I don't know what the issue is, but he's not playing like Russ was before he got hurt. So I'm taking the offense of San Francisco. I think Eli Mitchell's running the ball really, really great. He had like 130 plus yards last week. As long as he stays healthy, I think they're fine. They still have Jeff Wilson Jr., and so he's not a bad second option. Debo's been running the ball a lot. I think he had like 66 yards last week or something like that. So he's been running the ball as a wide receiver, which is, I mean, I guess, you're taking your best wide receiver and putting him at running back when you have a serviceable running back, in my opinion, in Mitchell, but whatever. Can't do that this week. Obviously, he's out most likely. Still have Kittle, so they still have a solid offense. It's just the way that Russell Wilson, if he was playing a lot better, I would probably lean towards Seattle, but the way he's been playing, I don't know if I can trust him right now. So taking San Francisco. Defensively, I'm taking San Francisco here. Seattle's defense has been pretty solid. 23 points against. Well, they didn't have their best quarterback, but they still gave up 23 points against Arizona. Then they gave up 17, I believe, last week against Washington. So they haven't been really terrible on defense. They look pretty solid. It's just I just trust San Francisco's defense a little bit more. Coaching wise, Pete Carroll, for what it's worth, the last 3 games, yeah. But before this, he wasn't really doing that bad of a job. I mean, he had Geno Smith as his quarterback trying to lead this Seattle team. He did decent. Like I just thought when Russ came back, or he was going to turn the ship around and they were going to have a chance to go to the playoffs. But that loss last week against Washington really hurt them. And then they have to win out and get some help. And I don't think it's going to happen. But I said it a few weeks ago. I thought that Shanahan's on the hot seat, and I still think he is. Obviously, you make it to the playoffs, then that kind of talk goes away because he hasn't really done nothing for the most part outside of that Super Bowl season. Which, I mean, you can't take that away, but that's it's part of it, I guess. But other than that, he really hasn't done anything. And then Jimmy Garoppolo's been in and out; he's been hurt, and but his record overall is positive. So I'm going to lean towards Shanahan for that. Obviously, overall, I would take Pete Carroll, but I kind of want to say Seattle. But after last week, after they lost, I thought they were going to win last week and then come back and then follow it up with another win and take that momentum and finish out the season strong. But I did pick San Francisco to make the playoffs, and I'm still sticking with that. So I'm going San Francisco here, 27-21.
Okay, yeah. So I think Russ was hurt, I think, October 7th. I think they only had 1 win.
Yeah, they got
Jacksonville
since then.
Yeah.
Hey, but you got Geno back there. I don't know what you really expected from him.
They lost to the Saints. I think they lost to Pittsburgh as well. Yeah, but I get what you're saying. And I did too. I thought they were going to pick right back up. I think everybody did. When Russ came back, I thought it was going to be like, all right,
maybe not the first game,
but the second game. Yeah,
they're playing a tough team in Green Bay. But yeah, the second game, I thought without
they didn't score though, man.
Kyler Murray, they didn't. But I mean, you're on the road. They only gave up 17. But I thought the second game without Kyler Murray, they would, and no D Hop, like
they lost.
It didn't happen.
They scored 13 points.
I think everybody probably expected some rust for Wilson and Seattle's offense with him coming back, but to just look inept for multiple weeks. I don't think anybody saw that coming.
Yeah. Corey, didn't you say they scored 18?
28 points over 3 games.
28 points. That's bad. I'm looking at it now. It's like they scored 0, 13, and then 15. That's not good, man. It's going to be interesting. And I don't know if they.
Unless you got the 85 Bears defense, you ain't winning games with that.
Nah. And they don't have all the 2000 Ravens. Because Trent Dilfer was.
I mean, this schedule's not that bad in the stretch, though.
But Seahawks aren't going to win. They're going to have
they have won these last 2 games, and I think they would have been fine right now. They've been 5-6.
Yeah.
They'd been in it then, but
they'd have been in it. They look bad.
Too late at this point.
They'd be lucky to go 2-2. At best they're gonna go 2-2. I mean, if they lose Chicago and Detroit back to back, Lord have mercy. They
lose to Detroit in general. Anybody.
If Seattle loses to Detroit, I think the wheels come off, and
it's time. It's time for a discussion.
Drama starts happening in that locker room.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's only 1 more game left, so they're gonna love to finish that last game. But Lord have mercy.
All right, you got 2 more. All right, I'm gonna do the Broncos versus the Chiefs. Who you got? Oh man, this is an interesting thing. I'm gonna do it until they lose. I got my swagger back. There goes the Chiefs, man. So offense, I gotta give it the Chiefs. Once again, I think they got the swagger back. They're playing good. It's funny we had a topic and then that's been the fire's been put out on that. Let's talk of them getting the number 1 seed. I don't think they are, but I mean, it's up for grabs. The AFC 1 seed is up for grabs. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Okay, and then so I got offense, of course, like Bridgewater maybe locked. Oh, hopefully not locked. Um, so even though I love Broncos offense, man, they have all the right pieces. They're just missing one. And if you don't have that one in NFL, you don't succeed, even if it's decent. And that's the quarterback position. Defense. This is a very interesting one. I still give it to the Broncos. I think the defense is better, even though Chiefs defense has been playing well. Late, like the Cowboys, which is good, but I mean, how good has the Cowboys been playing lately? But they still held them to 9 points. So I still give the defense to the Broncos. Coaching, Andy Reid, hands down, a great job this year. I mean, they were not good, not playing good, not looking good, and he was able to turn it around. And now nobody's even talking about him. And I think they're going to win this one. I think it's going to be not an easy win, but it's a divisional game. But I think it's going to be 35-20 Chiefs. Yep. All right, Corey, Broncos versus Chiefs.
For this one, offensively, I feel kind of obviously the edge goes to Kansas City. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Broncos have a lot of skill position talent. But as we've talked before, this Broncos team is going to go as far as their quarterback can take them. And with Bridgewater under center, that's only going to be so far. Mahomes has struggled notably this year, but he's still playing at a higher level than Bridgewater. Defensively, I give the edge to Denver. But I will say the Kansas City defense has been playing a lot better in this 4-game win streak than they had to start the season. And credit to them for that. Granted, they haven't exactly played the toughest of schedules in that 4-game stretch or played the best of quarterbacks. But, Teddy Bridgewater also isn't exactly John Elway either. So that stretch could continue.
A lucky stretch. It's crazy.
Overall, though, look, Denver is in a position where they control their own path to the playoffs. And as a football team and franchise, that's all you can hope for. Outside of the Lions game next week, every team that Denver plays coming up, they are competing with for a playoff spot.
Jeez.
It's a brutally tough schedule. We'll see if they're up to the task. But if they get in, they'll have earned it without question. Kansas City is a good team that has hopefully figured things out. They look like they may have, and they've now got themselves in the middle of the race for the bye in the AFC. I mean, it's not just the bottom of the playoffs in the AFC; it's the top two that who knows where the seeding is going to shake out. So both teams have a lot riding on this game. Both teams need a win. But I'm going to go Kansas City here, 27-21.
All right. Craig, Broncos versus Chiefs. Who you got?
The Chiefs are peaking at the right time right now. I think a lot of people were doubting them in the beginning of the season. They lost some games that they probably shouldn't have, and then they got destroyed by the Tennessee Titans, and there were questions about Mahomes. He was throwing picks left and right, and but now they won 4 in a row, and they look like the Chiefs from the last couple of years. So I'm taking the Chiefs offensively. I've never been a Teddy Bridgewater fan, still not a Drew fan either. So I like their receivers but they just haven't really been consistently getting the ball like they should be getting the ball. Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy and Noah Fant, like these guys are, if they had a better quarterback, obviously I think they would be better suited to having a better offense, obviously. I do like their running backs, Williams and Gordon. I think they're solid. It was a solid 1-2 punch. I can't say the same for the Chiefs. TEH and Williams there. I never really been a big fan of their running game, but as long as they have Mahomes back there at quarterback, I think their offense is 10 times out of 10 is going to be better than Denver's. Defensively, I can't pick the Chiefs right here. I had to pick the Broncos. Like, I get that the Chiefs defense has started to play a lot better. But when he played Dallas is missing a lot of players, or a lot of their better players on offense. And the Chiefs, obviously, they're, like I said, they're peaking at the right time. This kind of thing happened with Dallas last year, where the defense was really, really terrible, and then they kind of picked it up later on, and they weren't so bad in the rest of the season. I don't really put too much stock into that Giants win. I don't put too much stock into that Green Bay win. But the Raiders win, they look like they were on point on both sides of the ball. The Cowboys game, so this is another tough game with them. We'll see what happens. Fortunately for the Chiefs, it's at home, and they just came off of a bye. So, but the Broncos just came off of a win on their own against a tough division team. So they have momentum as well. So should be a solid game. Coaching wise, unless Andy Reid's playing against Bill Belichick, I'm not picking anybody else for the most part. So
that's true.
This is going to be. I kind of want to see like what Chiefs team are we going to get? Are we going to get the Chiefs team that barely beat the Packers with a backup quarterback making his first start ever? Get the Chiefs team that played the Raiders on the road, a division game, and they blew them out 41-14. Are we gonna get a team somewhere in that middle? I think we're gonna get some team in that middle range. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. I don't think it's gonna be one score game either. So I don't want to say the Chiefs are back yet 100%, but I think they're trending in that direction. I think the next couple of games is gonna pretty much tell that story of if they're actually back or not. They have 3 straight division games. So I'm going 31-20 Chiefs.
All right. Mo, Broncos versus Chiefs. Who you got?
Offensively, I'm gonna take the Chiefs. Just on overall talent. Denver has some pieces. They have some solid pieces, but when we just talk about overall, I'm gonna say the Chiefs. Defensively, I don't know, man. Defensively, I might shock some people with this one. I'm gonna go Denver. I like what Denver's been doing. I like the draft. I love Surtain. Surtain is just solid. Like he's worth the building. Coaching wise, like Craig said, unless you're going against Bill Belichick right now, you gotta take Andy Reid. You know what I'm saying? Overall, I think the Chiefs, and I'm gonna say this because of who Andy Reid is. I think the Chiefs understand the moment. I think they understand where you're at right now. They understand that Baltimore's vulnerable, and the number 1 seed is there because if you look at it, I think the rest of their games are all in the AFC. I think Kansas City's games are all in the AFC the rest of the way. They have all divisional games, and I think they won non-divisional games against Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken. So you look what's out there for them. I think they're going to smell blood. They won 4 straight, and in 4 straight they've held every team under 20 points. Yes, every team they played was not at the moment offensive juggernauts, but that's still impressive to hold 4 straight teams under 20 points. So I see Kansas City winning this game. I think Denver will score. I think Denver's probably, over the last 5 weeks, Denver might be the best offensive team as far as full weapons available that they've seen in the last 5 weeks. So I'm going to say Chiefs in an AFC shootout. I'm going to say 31-27.
Mo, you're almost right. So they have the Raiders, the Steelers, the Broncos, the Bengals. There's the Bengals and the Steelers. Non-divisional games.
Ooh, that's gonna be a good one. Oh man, we call that one. That's gonna be a good one. Depending.
Oh yeah. The Bengals and the Chiefs gonna be good. Depending on how the chart, I don't know. I listen. Listen. Luck happened, right? Aaron Rodgers out with COVID.
Yeah.
The Raiders wasn't playing good. I believe that's right after Ruggs.
Right. I think Dallas missing what? Dallas was missing Cooper and Lamb.
Dallas was Mr.
Cooper.
No, I think Lamb was there. I think they were missing Cooper.
I think that was the game Lamb got his concussion in.
Lamb got oh yep.
In the
There it
first
is. There it is, right? So that's what good teams do. They take advantage. All right, Corey, last one, man. Patriots versus Bills. Who you got?
With this game has, at least to me, what kind of feels like two teams going in opposite directions right now. The Patriots are getting hot. They're starting to look like a serious threat in the AFC, which is something that I don't think any of us expected at all to start the season. Meanwhile, the Bills, while at the beginning of the season they were looked at as arguably one of the two favorites to come out of the AFC, they've been struggling the last month. Yes, they're 3-3 in their last 6 games, with 2 of those wins being blowouts. But those blowouts were against the Jets and a struggling New Orleans team. So I don't know how much you can really read into those. They got themselves blown out by Indianapolis. But we're about to find out who this Buffalo team really is. They're getting the Patriots in prime time on Monday Night Football with first place in the division on the line and potentially a bye in the AFC on the line. While close, I do think Buffalo has better talent, both offensively and defensively, up and down their starting lineups. Obviously, Bill Belichick is arguably the greatest coach ever. So, as Craig said, there's really nobody that you're going to give that edge to. And look, the Patriots have dominated this division for the last 20 years. Last year, Buffalo was kind of named as the heir apparent to take over that division, as people looked like the Patriots could be struggling for a few years. Well, just one season, Belichick has them right back to competing for that division. So while this game isn't just important for the win-loss column, because it absolutely is for Buffalo, one, not just winning the division, but making the playoffs. Because if they lose these games to New England, they could be down some tiebreakers and miss the playoffs entirely, potentially, which could be crazy. But I do also think that this game has importance for Buffalo mentally, because, Brady left. The Patriots had a down year last year. The Buffalo had to be one of those teams like, this is finally our chance. And that next year, if New England comes in to your place and beat you in prime time, and how much of that mentality of, again, not again, it does doubt start to creep in. But for me, all the momentum is with New England right now. But I think Buffalo can rise to the challenge. I'm going to take the Bills 27-24.
All right, Craig, Patriots versus Bills. Who you got?
Man,
it's a good one. I can't wait.
This is tough. Offensively, I would say the Bills, but the way the Bills have started to trend downward, I don't know if I can really pick them. Josh Allen from an MVP candidate, probably leading MVP candidate at one point in time, to I don't even think he's in the top 5 right now with all the bad decisions, interceptions, and just the team as a whole under his watch is losing games. And you got another team in the Patriots who are trending upwards and they're winning games. So, it's I don't know if I know I didn't see the Bills going in their direction that they're going into, and I didn't see the Patriots going in the direction they're going into. Like, it's just coming to a head right now this week. And I don't think the Bills can't afford to lose another game. especially not against a division team who went from at one point in time nowhere near the playoffs to now leading the division by half a game. So I think the Patriots are right at the right time to go into the bye week with a chance to go up by a game and a half now, I guess. I know the Bills look good against the Saints, but it's the Saints. Like, they don't really have a quarterback. And they're not the same team. They didn't have Kamara either, or Ingram. So they're not even close to being the same team that they were a few weeks ago before everybody got hurt. And they beat the Jets. Like, that's not, who cares? They lost to the Jaguars the week before that. Obviously they got destroyed by the Colts. So, like, this team is just not looking consistent on offense. So I got to pick the Patriots. Like Bill Belichick and what's the offensive coordinator's name? I can't think of his name, but he has
McDaniels.
Yeah, Josh McDaniels.
Yep.
He has the team going in the right direction. So offensively, I got to take the Patriots. Defensively, I know the Bills they've been the top defensive team pretty much all season, and they're still ranked number one. But the way they looked against the Colts, man, I get that the Colts are a potential playoff team, but they were at home and they got destroyed 41-50. They let Taylor run all over them, and it's just like, I don't know if I can really trust this team. And the Patriots like to run the ball anyway. They got a rookie quarterback, so they're not really prone to throwing, and they don't have any really good receivers for the most part. So, I got to pick the Patriots here. And back to the offense, I know that the receivers that the Bills have, but they just don't look good. So I got it. Like I said, Patriots there. Patriots on defense right now, the way they're looking. Coaching, whatever. Bill Belichick, clearly. Man. So all the signs are pointing towards the Patriots here to win this game. But I think the Bills need this game a lot more because they got the Bucks after this. If they lose this game, they're 7-5. They come back off the bye week. Excuse me. They come back next game, and then they get the Bucks, and then they're 7-6. Then they got the Patriots again after the Panthers. They need, just for the sake of that they need this win more than the Patriots do. I gotta go with the Bills. Man, that's tough. I'm going with the Bills slightly, man. I don't feel good about it, but I'm picking them 27-23. 27-23 Bills. I don't feel good.
All right. Mo, Patriots versus Bills, who you got?
Offensively, I'm gonna say the Patriots right now. I think offensively and defensively. James, I think you posted in our chat that White injury hurts. That White injury hurts. Like, at the secondary, that's their best defensive back. I think you said torn ACL.
Yeah.
Out for the season. That hurts. Coaching wise, they don't need to talk about that. Of course, Belichick. I struggle with this one. I'm a huge proponent of the Bills. It's a thing of, I think one of y'all said it, is the Bills continuing to say, okay, this is our division now, or the Patriots saying, okay, we lent you this division for one season. Like, the Patriots telling them, like, okay, we lent you this for one season, or the Bills saying we're here now. And like you said, it's a must win for the Bills, because you turn around, and I truly believe this could be one of them situations where if they win, they can go on a run, because they'll have, I think in between it, they'll have Tampa, they'll have Carolina, they have the Patriots again, and they end the season with the Jets and two terrible teams, but the Jets and somebody else. So I think this is going to be huge. Honestly, I think it's going to be a motivation game for the Bills. I think they're going to really rise up for this game. I think it's going to be a tough defensive battle. I'm going to say the Bills 24-21, late field goal.
Okay. All right. Patriots versus Bills. You know, I was watching the other day, guys. This is funny, man. I was watching Major League, and I remembered it was like, "You got no marbles." So I just like to everybody. Corey made a good point. Where I mean, this is the Bills' time, right? The offense, the offense. The Patriots are man, they're running the ball ferociously, man. And Mac Jones is playing how a rookie quarterback should play. That was the perfect. Listen, the Patriots are a good situation for a quarterback, man. They look what they did with Tom Brady. Look what they're doing with Mac Jones, running the ball defense, and we're gonna ease him in, right? But I still have to go with Josh Allen. And I still have to go with Stephon Diggs. Bills really need a running back next year, but that's neither here or there. So I got to give the offense towards the Bills. But, I mean, I don't know how much, though. It's not that much. It's not like an overwhelming, oh, I'm taking the Bills offense. It's like, slightly. Slightly. Uh, defense, Bills defense they started out really good, and then it just fell off a cliff. And like Mo said, Tre'Davious White is gone for the year. He's one of the league's best corners, not just the team corner. Just his impact is. They're gonna feel that loss, and it's gonna hurt. And their defense has been taking a downturn, so that's just interesting to see. So I got to give defense to Patriots. Patriots defense is playing like 2000, like 2020 didn't happen. Their defense is back in 2019, and that's what you're going to get from the Patriots, right? Coaching, Belichick. There's no other. I mean, I'm taking him every week. That's So this is going to be a good one. Primetime Monday night. In Buffalo. Buffalo Mafia, please show up. Y'all have to show up. Give your team some support. But I'm gonna go with the mass. I think that Buffalo's backs are against the wall. And for them to have confidence, this is a must win right now. And it's not crazy. We talk about must win games. Start around week 8. And now these are playoff games for real, because this is going to determine the seeding. This can determine the division. This could determine a lot of things. And Buffalo needs to win this game. I think they are. But Belichick is really. This is a tough one because Belichick is really good at taking away the person's offensive best player. So that's he doesn't have to worry about the running game. So that's probably Diggs. And I don't know. I don't know how Allen is with this Dawson Knox, who I think he's a good tight end, and Gabriel Davis is a good second receiver. But you need Diggs to produce to beat teams like the Patriots.
It's why they brought in Emmanuel Sanders, though.
Yeah, you're right, Emmanuel Sanders. That's right. So Corey's right. I'm gonna go with the Bills. 27-24. I might go to overtime. It might. I don't know. I'm not going to be surprised if the Patriots win, though. This is a tough pick for me. And I can't wait to see it Monday night. Can't wait to see it.